Right, been looking forward to this one. Big fan of this, just to spoil it for you immediately. Basement Jaxx with their big number 6 from the second album, Rooty. This is called Romeo.
I was so going to make you say the album name in your accent. Say
Rudy,
it again.
Rudy Tooty.
But I say Rudy, so it doesn't make sense. So it sounds like I'm not saying it. Rooty, Rooty. So yeah, this is the, and I've written the word BJ all over my page. It looks a bit odd. So this is the first BJ on the podcast.
Shopping list.
This is the first Basement Jaxx that appears in the podcast. You've got Kelly LaRock on vocals, and we've actually got loads of Basement Jaxx stuff that aren't going to make the podcast because it's in the top 10.
Good.
So Just One Kiss that follows this, or might have just, I can't remember, was it before it? It's a jam. Do Your Thing's an absolute jam. Good Luck is a jam as well.
Oh, does that not make it?
Nah, they don't make the top 10s,
that one.
unfortunately.
We'll give it a play during this chat then, because it needs to get in there somewhere.
Okay. But this is a sample of Don't Let the Rainbow Pass Me from Cloud One. Very subtle. I have this down as a deserved number 1.
Yes, you're right. I think you're right. I've been thinking this week. I listened to a bit of the album, Rudy, and it made me think just Basement Jaxx's impact on British dance music near the world. I would compare it to the impact that Daft Punk had on French music.
Yes.
I think it's comparable. I think they were an album act who did have these amazing singles, but the experience is best as the full record because it's all mixed together nicely. Yeah. There's interesting tonal changes. I mean, this record is, critically acclaimed and deservedly so because it goes in so many different places, so many different moods. This one's always associated with being quite melancholic and, dare I say, melodramatic in some cases. Part of that's the video, which is this amazing Bollywood, pastiche of sorts where Brilliant. It has those filmmaking techniques that have been stripped back and you can see them all exposed. It ends with a big Bollywood dance number, which has that melodrama feel, but I think the feeling of the song is really melodramatic too. It's sad.
It is. It's so the gist is it's kind of like a song about being strung along by the indecisive type within relationships, and it's just finally kicking into the curb. But for this track, I've got it does remind me of Galway, because when we were on that holiday in Galway as 17-year-olds, I did manage to blag this house and lied about being at a Christian convention. This was always on the TV. We must have had some sort of music channel, or there must have been a show that played music, because I feel like that was on. Roger Sanchez, Another Chance was always on, and something else. But this is feel good for something that is kind of sad. It's really feel good.
Yeah.
I haven't put pumping. I've put pumpy because of actually the way that it, the frequency of the beats and the way that they're kind of patched together, and there's like gaps and stuff in them, and it just works. It's pumpy, big strong bass line, and just generally an overall jam. I've got.
Which Romeo are they referring to? Is it Romeo from Romeo and Juliet, who, spoiler alert, kills himself at the end? Or is it the Romeo from So Solid Crew?
Well, I'm sitting thinking, if it's two Romeos, is it Leonardo DiCaprio versus So Solid, potentially? Romeo done.
He's a bit of a ladies' man.
Romeo is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be.
With that meme at the moment, it would have to be Leo, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That Leo face is completely taken over my life at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. Who do you think? Do you think?
I want to think it's So Solid Crew.
Yeah, okay.
Leo's the obvious choice. Way too obvious.
Yeah. This one, right, so throw me back to Galway. This is, I can remember, was this the track that was on? So we had, when we'd gone to Galway, at this point, I had what you can probably officially call the world's worst fake ID, where I don't know, what had my brother done? I think my brother had accidentally on purpose filled in the wrong information when he went to a college in Belfast, so that he got what was the student card part sent out. So the student cards back then, they weren't like physical pieces of plastic, they were pieces of paper that had details on them that got put into like one of them tiny little laminated pouches. Yeah. So he managed to get that and then go, it's wrong, I need another one. So then gave me the fake one. But it was all pre-printed, but with a big thick black marker had written over the top of it and then laminated it. So I was using, where I came from, I didn't need it. I didn't need ID to get anywhere because I'd never really actually been ID'd. But when I was in Galway, they could see us coming, like these puny teenagers. And there was this nightclub, and I think it was in Ayr Square. There was a set of double doors, and you had to go up a set of stairs. But the bouncers were like taking the piss out of us and thinking, you're never going to get in. But historically, I think at this time I looked the oldest, so I led, and then the rest got to follow, to get in places. And I had to show them this ID, and they said, yeah, go on ahead. So they let me up, and I got up the stairs, and then I looked round, and they were not letting the other guys in. So we went and spent our nightly budget for a drink on a meat feast pizza and walked all the way 2 miles back out to this house in Galway. Devastating, but officially the worst fake ID you've ever seen in your life. Yeah. I do not know how I got away with it. I don't even know how I got the passport photograph, because back then you had to bring your mums and dads into the chemists to get your passport photos.
Yeah, I never had siblings, so I never got stitched up like that like you did, but...
Yeah, icing on the cake with that one.
I feel like I missed out. But equally, I'm not that hurt.